Good evening, ladies, gentlefers, and my lovely NBs. We are here live in Bangor at Shawshank Stadium for game number 1 of the Combine. My name is Marcus Baylor, and to my right is Ryan Eastman. How are you doing, dude?
Doing excellent, doing excellent. It's been a busy week for us. A lot of interviews with the rookies this week, and uh, I'm excited the FBA is getting back on track. It was only a couple months ago we were here in Bangor broadcasting the finals, and I'm super excited to see where this next draft class is going to end up going.
Yeah, the train keeps on moving here in the FBA, and it's another exciting time to see some young up and comers coming into this league to really give a nice, fresh new look in this class. And I got to say, this class is looking pretty stacked here, especially in the center position.
Yeah, 2 years in a row, I feel like we're going to have a very high level of a center class, and that may actually be a bit of a problem, but we can get into that as we get into the game. Let's jump on down. I think the players are taken to the court.
Yep, that is here as we do see both sides getting ready to get things started here as Cortez is able to pick it up for the Elites. And I gotta say, what is something you're gonna be looking forward to as these young players are working together for like the very first time in this type of atmosphere?
Well, definitely with a big crowd for the first time together. They've had some opportunities to have some 3-on-3s and full court drills between each other, but now there's a lot more cameras watching them, so you have to imagine the pressure is going to be on them here to try and limit mistakes. Obviously, they want to come in confident, but don't give any teams reasons to not draft you.
Yeah, for sure. As the Stars do take in the lead with a layup in the last possession, but that gets tied up very quickly with a mid-range jumper on the other side.
And we're talking about another high level of center class. 8 players featuring in the top 24 capable of playing center. Second year in a row, we've had a huge margin like that, and you have to imagine for the draft teams at the top, they might have some difficulties if they have centers on their on their team. Is it worth them drafting one with a high pick if they don't immediately need a starter there?
Yeah, I mean, like, it really does depend on the situation and on what they want to do. I know, like, for a team like Winnipeg, who had a fairly good season and had a lot of the draft lottery gods being on their side a little bit to give them an opportunity like this to possibly get a center, not just for like a good coming off the bench, but also long term, as we get a nice block there for the Elites.
Yeah, Day was able to hit a 3 to put the Elites up by 3. But I agree, Winnipeg with the DQ going into free agency, you have to wonder, do they continue to do they want to try bringing him back to be a starter again, or do they go ahead and look for a replacement in this draft? They have the number 1 overall pick and quite a bevy of centers to choose from. They could go with a big center, similar play style to him, or we've seen a couple stretch furs in this draft. They could go a little bit more modern with the three-point shooting big fur to try and change it up a little bit as well.
Yeah, and that's something that they're really gonna have to look into as we do see the Stars going for a couple of free throws. The first one is going to be good, and considering that we are seeing quite a good number of players deciding to, you know, hang up their shoes or jerseys for the final time, and being able to have a lot of opportunities for younger players to come in and possibly fill that void, especially for situations like Montana, who's going to be looking for a center this year.
Well, Crosby, after the Olympics, has said that he's going to at least throw his name in free agency and see if he gets any offers out there. So you're right. Montana could very well, if not be drafting for the future, be drafting immediately to replace a possible center. But that brings me back to Winnipeg, actually. Eves retiring after his bronze medal ceremony. They're going to be looking for a new leader on the team as well. And you have to imagine with the number 1 overall pick, they have a lot of options they could go with there. They have a couple holes they could definitely look to fill in this draft.
Oh yeah, like Winnipeg is in a prime position to not rebuild per se, but retool. As Belladova with the rock, looking to get a possible screen, does get it, but ends up getting called there. Shanahan with the illegal screen.
Yeah, and timing is going to be a big problem for these rookies here. Obviously, they're going to have a lot more opportunities once they're with their teams and able to develop to the speed that the FBA plays at, but right now they're all playing on a different tempo right now, and there's gonna be mistakes like that, missed cues on their screens, missed cues on their passes.
Yeah, speaking of the Stars, really having a tough time trying to find any opening. Have to go for a heave here, and it's not going to be good as Shanahan does get the rebound. And that's going to be also another thing, because while it's not expected for these guys to play together again like this until the rookie challenge for this upcoming year, as we get another foul there, it will stay the Elite's ball. And it's just being able to at least be able to see how well they can work together, even in a short period of time like this. As
Well, I don't know. There are a couple teams that have multiple first-round picks. San Jose,
Mhm,
with both theirs and Las Vegas's. The Lorraine Firestorms with the 10th and 11th overall pick.
mhm.
And then you got Biloxi with the Plymouths and their first-round pick. BLV, a lottery pick, and then going to be a late pick in the 23rd overall. So some of these players actually might get to see playtime with a fellow top 24 pretty early.
Yeah, and that's something that's also going to be coming into fruition as we do head into the nitty gritty of the draft. As you see another miss there for the Elite, as Sager is bringing it up for the Stars. And it just kind of goes into like what sort of things that some teams are looking at. Like, okay, we can definitely see some long term success with these two players working together, and that's why these combine games are, even though they're not as like uh serious from a casual fan's perspective. It's very important for a lot of these scouts to really pay attention to as we're going to time out here for the elites.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go ahead and get some subs in, trying to get all the players featured. The starters for this game will be on the bench for the next game. The 6th and 7th Furs will get more minutes than the rest of the bench, and they'll be featured in both the first and second game. And you're right,
Mhm.
some chemistry, especially for those players that are going to be drafted together, might factor in with how a team chooses to draft. Especially again, a team like Lorraine. You look at their roster, and they've come close. They've won the division multiple times in a row now. But they just
Yeah.
have been a couple steps short. And how do they address that in the draft?
Yeah, and it's just really trying to find some kind of things because there are certain teams that are going to be looking to try and find those last couple of pieces, finally get over the hump and make a deep run to possibly an FBA Finals appearance. And then there's other teams that are looking to possibly try and find some retooling on their bench. I know that for a good example, the Excavators, a majority of their bench is going into free agency this year. So it's going to be an interesting to see how they are going to answer some of the key factors of who they're going to bring back or possibly try and fill in those voids.
And Bane, they were playing a hot potato there. No one wanted to take the shot, and Bane's the one that has to take it in the end. But fast break, Daya able to lay it up and in, hit a three earlier. That's most of the points for the elites have come from him.
Yeah, and that's honestly something that is good, trying to be able to take control of the game and take be able to show that you can be efficient in scoring as we get a nice dish into the paint and we'll draw the foul and one opportunity here. So the Stars have a chance for an old school 3-point play.
And I will say there are two teams that we at least know that none of these players will be drafted to. Las Vegas trading both of their picks away, and Plymouth trading both of their picks away, unless we see any kind of shenanigans draft night where they acquire a pick mid-draft. At least two teams can be crossed off of their destinations for these rookies.
Yep, and the shot is good there for the Stars, so they will take a lead here. 1 point with 6 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, offense has been a bit slow here, but
Mhm.
great
Ooh,
dish. Shanahan dunking it down.
yeah, great dish there from Attila. Going from North Star University, a university that has really become one of the major schools that bring in a lot of FBA talent in recent years.
Yeah, so
Right,
now Russell got all the way to the post, and this year is actually pretty light on the North Star talent. I think Shanahan's the only real one we're seeing probably being drafted.
That's for
Ali
sure. Right now,
tipped,
ooh,
mistimed.
very mistimed and not a lot of jumping there. I believe that was from Shea that was trying to get that alley-oop to be done, but instead it just ends up being an unforced turnover, and the Stars will take over. And we see another major substitutions from both sides as the rest of the bench does come in as Bane brings it up.
I stand corrected. Maverick Taylor, also likely to be drafted this year. Power forward.
Yep.
Two bigs, basically. And, ooh, great three there.
Yep, excellent three. Now the Stars are up by 2 with that basket. We'll see how the Elites respond here as Little try to go for a mid-ranger. One of the little brothers getting a chance to show their stuff as he's in the top 24.
Look, I'm just glad that they made the decision not to have both of them featured here because there was no way I was going to be able to deal with a 4-set and a 4-wrist on the court at the same time. How many? You have to put their whole name on the jersey to tell them apart.
Basically, it's very unfortunate too because it's just like not only do you have them have be quite similar names, it just makes it a lot more difficult for our job as Little gets swatted over there, but the foul gets called there. So Little will go on the line for 2.
Kieran, the Irish Wolfhound. Second foul called already on him here tonight.
Yep. One of our international players coming from Ireland, if I recall correctly.
Yes, played for their national team. And
So
we got the other sibling of an FBA player, relative FBA player, Hank Martin, going to be featured here. Played for the London Jets. Get to see him start in game number 2.
Yeah, so and that's one of the also pretty interesting things. We have seen a variety of foreign players coming into the league and making some noise here, but it's really good trying to see what will happen. Is Alexander picking up the loose ball there? Very dangerous moment for the Stars, and we see a mid-range being popped up, and it's good.
Well, hey, it's the Olympics this year. Obviously, all of our eyes were focused on the international game itself, and that means that brings in a lot of. Speaking of, Martin going to the line for and 1 after that foul.
Yep, Cotton with that one, with withdrawing that foul in this particular instance. So.
Yeah, but I was saying, a lot of eyes were on the international talent this year, so I think players are utilizing that extra exposure to make the jump to the FBA from overseas.
Yeah, and honestly, it gives a nice different flair because, European basketball, especially, has a very distinct way of play, and it's a little bit different from the FBA when it comes to like maybe a bit of intensity, trying to go for more so the play styles and relying on coaching over there. So it's very interesting to see how that kind of veteran presence from being in a professional league can come into play amongst these top 24 candidates.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a player maybe 20 years old, but they've been professional for 2 or 3 years overseas. Most players coming into the league are either coming in as a college player, which, I mean, it's its own thing, but that season is very short by comparison. That's a 30-game, 35-game season at most, and you're also doubling being a student at the time.
Yeah, that is certainly the case, as the Elites are now up by 5, 20-15, which is about 3 minutes left of the first quarter. Cotton going for an alley-oop attempt, but it was just nowhere near where they wanted it to be. So another unforced turnover there for the Stars.
A little too much muscle for her there. She threw it behind the basket. I don't think even Jake Turner could have pulled that down.
Yeah, that was literally like a quarterback pass over there. You think that you'd be in the UFFL. But right now we do see another opportunity there, but the Elites are not going to get that basket now as Diggs gets the rebound.
Yeah, Martin was the one attacking the basket again. Someone coming in with some professional experience. A great block there by Cortez.
Yeah, Cortez showing his shot a little bit. Now the Elites have a chance to expand this lead to 7. Of course, the crowd during the due diligence calling defense, but it's not going to matter here as that mid-ranger is going to be good there. So Cortez doing a very good job of showing the offensive premise on that.
Not just that, the defensive end getting the block there. She was able to make impact on both sides, but oh, wow, Diggs. Carly, the Finnick Fox from Vanderbarn, hitting a mid-range there.
And right now, the Elite still trying to make sure to keep that lead a good distance as Little with the rock. Waiting for some kind of game plan as he hands over to Cortez. Cortez going for a mid-range, and it's not going to be good this time. She was not able to get that one down.
Yeah, shot clock started to work against her there. And the fast break the other way, Diggs not able to get it. Little going to box out and get that rebound. And Martin, ISO play, blocked on the way up by Alexander.
Yeah, that's probably one thing you're going to have to look into as well, because as much as we like to bring up the highlights, we also got to make sure to look at the full game. And you got to really be careful trying to rush yourself into a play like that. I know you want to make as many highlights as possible, but you got to play clean basketball as well. We get another, I believe that was blocked there, and they're just fighting for the ball. We still get like a third rebound here as Cortez slams it down.
Yeah, it was blocked. Cortez got the block shot, put it up, missed it, and then they battled for the rebound and still pulled it down with an extra dunk there. And oh, I mean, that's right. You know, fans are going to look at the box scores and, you know, the little highlights on Twitter, but it's going to be about, you know, the scouts actually looking at seeing every shot you took, every pass you attempted. And were they smart passes or were they dangerous passes you just got lucky on? Were they good shots or were they just shots you threw up in the air just because and it wasn't a great shot? Little there. Second chance opportunity. No good, though.
Yeah, we also got to look at the effort as well, because even though we're seeing some great effort on the Elite side, having these second or third chance opportunities, as the Stars able to find their way back only down by 1 after our basket there. But it just really kind of shows of what are you going to do in certain situations. If you're going to be close in this situation, how are you going to respond? If a team's on a huge major run, are you going to try to find ways to give the effort that you need to get them back into it, or just falter? There's a lot of these things that come into play in these scenarios. As Cortez not able to get that basket this time as Turkett gets the rebound. And with one final shot, it's not going to be good. And we'll end the first quarter with the Elites up by 1.
You may only have the ball in your paw for 5% of this game. They're not looking for the 5% that you're going to have the ball. They're looking for the 95%. What are you doing when the ball isn't in your paw? So it is a big. You can't take plays off, basically, and you can't be lazy in your transitional defense. You can't be lazy on your screens. You have to play. This could be the difference between you making it as a top 24 pick, a lottery pick, or getting relegated to the second round, and that's a pay cut of 50% right there.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something we also got to pay attention to as well when it comes to these players, is that they want to make sure that they have a good enough resume to be able to get drafted by these teams and get us and really have a good solid payday at the beginning of their careers.
I mean, it's a big payday for some of these players coming in. I mean, the first overall pick making $5 million right away is a huge difference. And the fast break from Alexander, pulls back, and defense caught up to him there.
Yeah, Barlow with the rebound this time. The Elites trying to keep that lead afloat, but nice block there on the other end as Alexander gets the rebound.
And we have another relative on the floor, Brandy Johansson, sibling of Oscar, seeing if she can make her way into the FBA here. And good long-range shot there, putting the Stars up by 2.
Yeah, Lumari this time doing a great basket for them. As right now the Elite trying to get the lead back as they're now bound by 2 as Thompson does tie things back up.
The Platypus down low in the post, getting it in. Close game overall, and the offense definitely picked it up. It was a little slow there to start with, but you feel like they've warmed up finally and are getting some plays going as Colquhoun from beyond the arc again. Another 3 here.
Yep, Colquhoun from Midwest Avian doing really good right now for the Stars. You know, going back to your point of the whole sibling things, we are seeing quite a lot of relatives coming into the FBA in recent years, and a lot of them have been able to make some kind of noise to kind of keep that name recognition afloat.
Well, you always wonder when you have a player coming into the league, how much of it is, are they benefiting from their relative's name already being established? I mean, I'm sure you have an understanding of that, obviously.
Yes, I know that all too well.
But it definitely gets the door open for you, but there's also extra pressure that is put on a player like that because there are expectations already established for them in the league. Why aren't you as good as so-and-so? Is another 3 attempt from Yalner, no good there.
And the Elites have a chance to possibly take the lead again, as we do see the Elites are doing very good rebound-wise, as they have been taking control of majority of the boards. And yeah, I agree with that sentiment, as we get another foul there on Alvarez, tripping up one of the star players. And so we will see some massive change up on both sides, it looks like. But yeah, it just really kind of comes into play of you have to come in with a little bit of urgency and wanting to prove, because there's a lot of pressure into it, and there's gonna be a lot of stress being put onto you because they're going to expect you to be the next coming of the player that has came in before you, right?
Oh, not just that, but hopefully your sibling or relative wasn't a bust, and that
Yeah.
there's a negative connotation with the name itself being added. Is Miyuki not able to get that fast break opportunity there.
Right now we're going to see a nice 3 there from the Stars, but it's not going to be good. But Johansson able to get the first offensive rebound for the Stars, and we'll lay it up pretty easily.
Yeah, Brandy getting a second chance bucket there, and again, big body down low in the post. Able to battle for those offensive boards and get those second chance opportunities. An alley-oop attempt. Oh, mistimed. But Miyuki will manage to jump up again and dunk it down, as the defense also fell for it when they went for the first jump.
Yeah, Miyuki from Nippon Sports really showing her athleticism there, but this time on the Stars' end, it's not going to be good this time.
Yeah, and again, back to the post. No good there. Seeger Hendricks will come down with the board.
Yeah, right now. So as we do get into the nitty-gritty of these games and really getting to know more about these rookies, do you feel like that, like, for those who are in free agency right now, trying to make sure to find a home or be able to get a contract to stay where they're at, do you feel like that there's some sense of concern for some players who are in that situation where they may or may not be able to go to a new team or be signed at all?
I mean, obviously, you have new players coming in. There's always new players in have to equal new old players out. And, for every 48 players that get drafted, that's 48 less players getting signed. In some ways, they're lucky and they have those who retire who create those openings, but then there's going to be others that, the rookies, I think, might be the biggest losers of this in terms of they're coming off their rookie contract. And if they haven't made an impact here, they may not see themselves getting a new contract going into next season.
Yeah.
And I mean,
this also.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that this also kind of puts into the consideration of just like the appendant needs of a lot of teams and what they really want to value, whether it comes to like the pure talent of a certain player as another missed alley-oop opportunity. We're seeing a lot of that in this game.
Well,
And
going for highlights, and they're not coming out on the.
they're really trying. A lot of these players are trying to show off their athleticism here. Um, as we get another opportunity for the Stars to extend their lead with 2 free throws for Bane. But in any case, so the big thing really here is, do they kind of value more of the talent of these young players over what veteran presence that they could get from others in this kind of situation?
Well, I'll give you a great example. Let's look at the Williamsburg Minutemen. They have the 3rd overall pick in this draft. Excuse me. They have the 3rd overall pick in this draft. They have a veteran Vera Latiera going into free agency. And then they have their rookie coming off their rookie contract going to free agency, Marshall Tarraga. With the 3rd overall pick, they could choose either to go for a point guard or a center. But if they go for one of those, that signals that they don't believe they'll be bringing back one of their starters from last year. Or if I was them, they could even consider trading it. But at that point, you have to question, Vera Latiera is a veteran. How many more years does she have?
Yeah.
Marshall, can you afford to bring back? Centers are always a very prized commodity. So if you can keep them under a long-term contract, that's great. Otherwise, you might be looking for them every 2 years in the draft.
Yep. And I think going from the other mentality of rookies coming in getting drafted, if they had these aspirations like, yeah, I'm going to start in my first year, I'm going to be able to, take over an entire team and bring them into relevancy. If they end up being in a situation where their starting lineup is set, do you think that kind of hinders their appearance, their mentality of what their expectations were, and be a little bit more, I guess, immature-ish about it? Or do you think they'll be able to just, take this as a learning opportunity as well and try and learn from a lot of these veterans to possibly be that next player up?
I mean, I think it comes down to the individual itself. I mean, rookie contracts are only 2 years long, so it's not like these players are locked in for, 6, 8 years, whatever, that they are forced to play behind someone. If they don't want to, they can leave after 2 years very easily, assuming that there's someone available willing to take them. So, as a player, you need to have that maturity and realize it's a business. You got to do the best you can. Obviously, come when you're no longer under contract, you have every right to leave if you get an offer. And great spin move from Martin. You talk about some of that European flair being a bit different. Great move down the post there to get open.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent showing there. As now Diggs with the rock headed into Gazaki. Trying to look for something, but hands it back out into the perimeter as Diggs and Gazaki kind of playing hot potato with it. Stars got to do something as Diggs go for the tough mid-ranger, and it's going to be in and out this time as the Elites go ahead and take this rebound.
Five-point game here. Elites need to start cutting into as Joshua. Great dish to Cortez. Abigail putting up points here. 8 thus far. Obviously, some of those missed shots were second chance opportunities that, sure, she missed her first, but she was able to clean up her second. So,
yeah, for sure.
I could start that one clean possession then. If you get your own offensive rebound and a make, just pretend like you didn't miss the first time.
Yeah. I mean, that really kind of just shows how stats, while they have their place in a lot of situations, it's not like it doesn't tell the entire story of the game, right?
Oh no.
You could tell that for a center, if they were 10 for 20 a night, but a majority of those were second chance opportunity, you're like, okay, that's a really good, because even though they miss it, they still are able to get some pretty good rebounds, because that grants them a double-double in that instance.
Well, not just that, but they saved an empty possession. You were going to walk away with 0 points, but then they managed to still get you points in the end. I mean, it's like being able to get to the free throw line. Sure, you missed your shot, but at least even if you walk away with 1 point from the free throw line, you still walked away with points from a shot that was missed. And ooh, foul there from Kyron. Getting a call for the blocking, third foul total. Foul trouble is not something you want to get in the rookie combine game, but we
Oh
have a couple
no.
players here already getting up there.
Yeah, I mean, it really just goes to show when it comes to like early jitters, because we've certainly seen quite a lot of rookies in certain stages where jitters does come to them. As you know, nice dish to Cortez. We have been seeing her name a lot throughout this game.
FBA Finals. People got
Oh
in
my
foul
god.
trouble.
Yes.
So, some
Yeah.
people that I don't want to murder me in my next interview, so I won't say anything. As great
Yeah.
attack there from Diggs, able to lay it up and in.
Yeah, but it just really kind of goes to show. But those are experiences at the end of the day. Like being able to be in those moments and trying to learn from them, even if you feel like that's your lowest point of your career. And we see a 12-4 run here for the elites as they find their way back in the lead, and we see another um bad turnover there on the stars. And Day is going to be able to go ahead and take advantage of that, and now they're up by 3.
Yeah, and that was all off of Little's dunk, and then intercepting that long full court pass. Again, that was just a risky, unnecessary pass, and the Stars find themselves down here after the Elites have just had a great run here. And oh, a big
Ooh.
block. Abigail sending that to the crowd for a fan to take home. That's the rule, right? If your blood ends up on the ball, you get to take it home.
Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility. Yeah, Abigail from the Philadelphia Institute really just showing a lot of you know, really showing that she could possibly be a name that we're going to call off early in the draft for how she's playing in this combine.
Yeah.
And ooh,
Great three
Turcotte.
there.
Yeah, Turcotte with a great 3 in the last second. Really good shots right now, 50% so far when it comes to field goal percentage, and a nice 3 to tie things right back up. But right now, the Elites try to extend that lead back, but it's not going to be good there. So the Stars have a chance to take the lead. But of course, as I say that, Russell ends up getting the steal, getting the Elites back into the frame with Thompson with the slam.
Yeah, and I got my eyes on Holly Ann Cotton, standing out of the rest of the centers of this top 24 group. She's only 6'8". We've seen a couple small centers, have success in the league, obviously, in the finals. We got to see a great play coming out from the Bear, able to take home a ring. And, people talked about him being undersized. Oakley,
Yeah.
obviously, he did play more of a power forward role in the finals, but he did come in at center at time. But, Cotton's even an inch shorter than her. But, players like that kind of paving the way of showing that they can have successful careers despite being what one would consider undersized for the role.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into, like, I guess a little bit of positionless basketball at the end of it, as we are finishing up the first half of this one, as we're going to go ahead and get into these conversations. And that is something that, like, a lot of teams are probably going to look into, as we do see the recent champion come in and saying, all right, what did they do well in these scenarios, and what can we do to kind of bring that style into our own a little bit, because it is a copycat league at the end of the day. We want to make sure that we that teams do whatever they can to finally get over that hump that a lot of a lot of teams really have been striving to try to get over.
So draft 2 centers is what you're saying.
I mean, I'm not saying everybody draft 2 centers, even though you can easily do that in this one. Uh,
Well, I mean,
but
if you have 2 first-round picks, which 3 teams do, uh,
yeah,
but I mean, they could. I agree that everyone's gonna be looking at what did they do that we can take from them and copy, and how we build our teams. And again, both the finalists had rookie centers in the finals, so if you can find a good center to anchor your team, that can possibly be what you need to make it to the finals. And there's a lot of centers available in this draft, and I mean, again, 8 of them. That means theoretically, assuming no double dipping, 8 teams could be coming out this first round with their future starting center. Uh, and After last year with how many centers were taken, you have to start wondering about those older centers. Like you
Yeah.
said, are they feeling the pressure?
Yeah, especially with having like back-to-back years with being enriched in the center position. It just seems like there's a huge wave of bigs for a lot of teams to look into to possibly want to get an opportunity to still in, as we are going to go ahead and start things up. The Elites are up by 2, 51-49 at the beginning of the second half. And it really kind of goes into saying of like, would you want to prefer talent over veteranship? We have seen teams like Vegas, really good example, wanting to go ahead and get young. Well, even Bangor too, a little bit as well. While certainly the bigs that they drafted, they had more of a bench role. It paid dividends for them.
Yeah, and I mean, it's gonna. I don't even want to try imagining. I know, Marcus, you've had some great calls in terms of your predictions of drafts, uh, but I'll give you an opportunity here. Go ahead. Before we even have our top 24, Seager. Ooh,
Oh,
great
geez.
dunk there. The defense absolutely lost him, and the ball passing there. Winnipeg, what position are they drafting number 1 overall this year? I'm not even going to ask you for a
Oh,
player. I'll ask you for
oh
a
my
position.
gosh. Well, I think they're gonna probably have to fill in that leadership void. So I would assume they would go guard in the first overall pick. Well, yes, there is the question of whether or not they're going to bring back the big polar bear, even though like it didn't really work out for them with that signing, since they weren't able to make it to the playoffs as they were expected, as they won the title about a year ago.
2 years. They were
Two
2022.
years
It's
ago.
been a few
Yeah,
years.
yeah. So it's been a couple of years since they've been able to be champions, and they've kind of trying to find ways to retool to get back to that promised land. And now that a lot of veteran players are starting to, um, move on and retire, I think it's pretty much looking into possibly getting a possible guard here to essentially get it. Now, whatever guard ends up getting here, we don't know. It's certainly everyone's kind of making a little bit of noise here and there throughout this game, as we are seeing a lot of lead changes and ties throughout this one.
Yeah, back tie, 55 apiece. Is Russell going to hit a 3 off the screen?
Yeah.
The
And
opossum.
I'm gonna. Oh, go for it.
I was going to say the opossum coming from overseas, Australia.
Mm, yeah. And I guess I can pick your brain a little bit too when it comes to this upcoming draft. What do you think is going to be the biggest shock uh, in this draft this year? We've had some pretty solid surprises these past couple of years.
Well, portrait turnover there. I'm going to predict that despite there being 8 centers in the top 24, only one of them will go in the first 6 picks.
Interesting.
I think only one. I think the rest of the lottery teams have so many bigs already on their rosters, or they're going to be bringing back a big, that they will not be drafting one. Winnipeg is the one I could see doing it. Pittsburgh has Margaret Warrior, Desdemona Iverson, and Timothy Svengard. They don't need a center. They could
Oh
pick
yeah,
a
they don't.
center, but they really don't need one. Williamsburg has Kendrick Kaminsk and Marshall Terragod going into free agency, and I would be shocked if they don't try and bring Marshall back, so that they don't need a center. Queens has Tucker Iverson and Clemens going into free agency. They don't need a center if they're going to bring him back. Hawaii has CC Champion for 3 more years, Eric Toivonen for 1 year. They could theoretically draft a center to replace Toivonen over the long term, but they don't need a center at the moment. Santa Ana kind of is the first one that comes up as maybe needing a center, but even then, they have Johansson.
Yeah.
They have Bernard Peace. They technically don't have to draft a center if they don't need one. And then Biloxi, they have Tyrese Vaughn for 1 more year and Lee Bearquin for 1 more year. They have a starting pair of bigs. They don't need a center either.
Yeah, I think that I guess it comes into fruition as to how many bigs are you willing to have in your bench. To be honest with you, if you're any of these them players, it seems like it's such a rare thing to say too, because usually it's the exact opposite. There's a plethora of guards everybody has that just gets turned over a lot. So it's certainly something that could be a possibility in the reality of things.
Well, and going
But
back to as we see a great play there, screen Zevros, even though the defense got around it. Lamari laying it up and in, getting it done from beyond the arc and close range. It goes back to what you said earlier about, as a player, how do you behave if you're sat behind someone else for a year? Because honestly, any of those teams could take a center with the plan of, okay, we're not going to keep our starter after their contract, so they only need them for 1 year to sit on the bench. And they
mhm.
could do that. It's completely possible. It's just, as an immediate need, not many of these teams have an immediate need at that big position.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess it really kind of depends on like what they want to do with the size as well, because there are a couple of teams who are really big in the size compartment, wanting to really kind of use length, especially on the defensive side too, because with Bangar having two defensive player of the year candidates, especially with one of them winning defensive player of the year, it's really kind of shows that defense plays in a very important role in this current generation of the FBA, and what can they really kind of bring defensively?
And Abigail showing up tonight, 14 points thus far. And I mean, it also goes back into a lottery pick. Do you lottery pick a player just to have them on your bench? A lottery pick theoretically should be a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's where my big thing is. Oh, Abigail again, another basket, an alley oop. That is a highlight play that did not fail at least.
Yeah. Abigail really has been a name that we have called a lot in this one, and is really kind of raising her stock a little bit in this draft class with this performance here. And of course, as I say that, we do get a quick long two there from Coquin.
Yeah, and Russell's the other one that's really stood out. I mean, these three players thus far have been putting up a good showing here. Blocked from behind. Joshua able to get the ball, though.
And right now, Day going tit for tat, trying to get into the paint, does so, and is not going to get it down. But Shanahan with the rebound. When the fresh 14, but gets blocked there, and it will stay the Elite's ball with 8 seconds. A great block there for the Stars.
Yeah, the Golden Jackalope to get a paw on it. That's, I think, his third block thus far. And, getting 8 seconds on the shot clock is not a lot of time to get a play drawn up, especially for a team that is, I was to say, put together roughly. I don't think they knew who they were playing with until just before the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure that like they only know a little bit from the morning, and the only time they got to play together is probably in warm-ups. So not a lot of time to really get to know one another, what works for other people. As we get another block there.
Yeah, Martin blocked by Colquin. Fast break. Bain fouled from behind. Will go the one for and one. Beladova getting a call for the contact there from behind.
And the 3-point play is going to be good there from Bain. Corey Bain. Going from the University of Shirian.
The Elites have had some good stretches where they built runs, but the Stars haven't given up. And and the defense has been, I think, the factor there as yet another block comes in for the Stars.
Yeah, the Stars really doing a good job, but another block from the Elites end as well. Both teams really going to the nitty-gritty as Barlow goes for a mid-range, and it's not going to be good this time as Cotton gets the rebound.
Yeah, a little aggressive on that fast break, not able to convert it there. And Stars, what can you do? Bain down in the post again, off the glass is good.
Yep, right now the Bain coming from Atlanta, Georgia. Starting to kind of pick up a little bit offensively for the Stars as the Elites trying to get back into it. And right now, Alvarez passing over to Martin. Martin laying it up, and it's not going to be good with a quick block there for the Stars. And now the Stars have a chance to extend this up to possibly a 2-possession game if they get a 3 here. Right now, Bain loses the ball there from Barlow. So now the Elites have a chance to probably take this lead once again. Both teams really trying to find some kind of answer here, as another failed opportunity there for the Elites, as Turkett gets the rock. Now Bain has it over to Turcotte again, goes for 3, and it's gonna be good. And the Elites are calling for their second timeout. Not a lot of timeouts called into this game.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's going to be another game right after this. A little bit of a break. They don't. The advertisers gotta. We have programming after this that we can't afford to push back. So.
Yeah.
To be fair, this isn't a serious competition in terms of winners or losers walking home with a ring.
Oh yeah, but it kind of really goes to the kind of mentality of what you can take out of this game and what effort you want to bring into it, right? And so, and both teams are doing fairly well when it comes to that. They're not really, letting down without a fight, not letting the game get out of hand as Bain gets called for the foul this time.
Well, and Stars pulling away a little bit. Needs to be an answer from the Elite as the ball tipped, but Little not going to lose it there as he gets a hold of it. Double teamed on his way up, but not able to convert it. Cotton going to come down the board.
Yeah, and right now, you are seeing that Turkett going for 3 one more time, and it's not going to be good this time. So now the Elites will need to find some kind of answer offensively, because they did let things slip away from their grasp. As we get another attempt there, but blocked. But Bain will get called for the foul once again.
Yeah, not going to go down as a block, unfortunately, with the contact. That's the 3rd foul for Bain. And again, got to be mindful. Fouls are fine. Don't get caught up in silly fouls, basically.
Yeah.
Good on the second after missing the first.
Yeah, now the Elites down by 3. We'll see if the Stars are going to be able to go ahead and get things going, as Hendricks going for a quick jumper, and it's good.
Great teardrop there to get the basket. As you see, their field goal percentage for the Stars has been through the roof this quarter.
Yeah, for sure. And as we're getting to the last few minutes of the 3rd quarter, the Elites have taken full control of this game, as Little getting into the mid-range jumper, but it's not going to be good this time. And now the Stars are looking to continue to extend that lead, as Sigurd Hendricks with the rock. Trying to let the play develop. Probably looking for a screen, but no one's really giving it to him. Not a lot of time left, as Turkett has to probably go for a desperation 3 here. And it's not going to be good, but we get a foul under the basket. Kazaki gets called for the loose personal, and it will be the Elite's ball.
Yeah, a little too aggressive going for those offensive boards. Going to result in a extra foul added on. No loss of possession, though, as the ball was going to easily end up in the Elite's paws.
Yeah, It just seemed like a lot of situations there for the Stars to try to extend it. It's not going to work on their favor, as we get to see a jump ball opportunity between Barlow and Bain.
I have a feeling I know which way this is going to go.
Yeah, and well,
Russell coming up with it. Okay.
Yeah, but not able to go ahead and get that basket, as the Stars does get a quick stop. now. With just about 30 seconds left in the third quarter, the jumper's not going to go down this time. There's still an 8-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock, and that get cut off right there as the Elites are able to cut the deficit down to 3. But this will be the last position for the Stars. We'll see what they do with it here.
Yeah, a little great fast break opportunity. You know, with his size, some people will talk about it and not being a little concerned about his speed and endurance, but showing he doesn't have any issues there. And it will be the Elites with the final possession of this third quarter, down by 5. Screen called there. 3 seconds left. Over to Little. Little has had a bit of a hot paw recently, but not able to get the three-pointer to fall.
Yep, and so after the end of 3, the Stars really did have control of majority of that third quarter here, as we do look at some highlights in before we get into this final quarter. And it's just going to be interesting how the Elites are looking to bounce back as they're down by 5. Now we see a quick dunk there from Shanahan. That's a good way to answer things back.
Yeah, I feel like they're starting to get a little bit more in time with one another. Those passes starting to land a little bit more. That was a great backdoor pass for the dunk. No dribble required there. And now Brandy. Oh, woo! Rejected!
Okay, so the Elites are now coming here to play, it seems like, in the fourth quarter. Some very good opening possessions for the both of them, as now the Elites have a chance to cut this deficit down to 1, or perhaps tie the game, as Day going into the paint, pass it over to Cortez, and Cortez able to go ahead and get that layup. And right now, Cortez has an opportunity to possibly finish the game with 20 points or more if they continue the amount of success that they've been doing.
Yeah, Abigail's had a great showing in this first Combine game. Stars strip there on the way up. Little going to come up with it. Another steal for him. But
yeah,
loses the ball on the way.
Yep, speaking of steals, we get Turcotte being able to get it right back as Turcotte tries to lay it up but gets blocked there. Does able to clean it, but Cortez, she has been on fire so far in the paint.
Yeah, he got the block there and ended up getting the rebound after the second chance missed. Back, almost tied, but no, ball lost again. A little bit of active pause on the Stars side, and a little frustration coming out there. Beladova fouling on the way up. That's her second.
Yeah, and I think a lot of players are kind of getting a little bit too hyperactive, coming up with the zoomies a little bit now, as we are seeing the intensity come wrapping right up as we're heading into these early minutes of the final quarter of this game.
Yeah, I mean, again, these starters will have a little bit of playing time in the next game, but obviously wanting to make sure that everyone gets a bit of an opportunity to showcase themselves here as equally as possible. We'll see some substitutions. Even though I will say the number of centers and bigs has created some interesting problems where we're going to see some players taking the small forward position that normally don't play small forward, harboring back to times we've had guards have to play power forward, but
oh gosh,
in the opposite direction this time.
Yeah, and I think that really kind of goes to show of like athleticism becoming more and more important in recent years. Being able to show that you can still kind of hang with players that are much more smaller and not really your standard player. Well, yes, there's still some good like big furs that just go down to the paint and shove it down your throat. There's still some quality players in that kind of front, but nowadays a lot of athleticism becomes very, very important in a lot of these lineups. And right now, Colquitt have to go for a long 2, and it's not going to go down there as Beladova comes in with the rock.
Yeah, a bit of a two-sport athlete, previously having played volleyball. Able to get the good hops there and pull down the board. Joshua off the screen, inside the arc, no good.
Yeah, and right now, the Stars tried to extend it here with Colquhoun trying to lay it up, but it's not going to be good this time.
Yeah, a little too fast there, trying to rush the possessions down low in the post, and I feel like there's a little bit of, I want to call it, uh, impatience in these plays. And an offset, another turnover, offensive 3-second violation, too long spent daddling in the paint.
Yep, and now the Stars have a chance to extend this lead once again, and that's something we also got to look into as well with some of these players is how clean can they play throughout the game, especially when we get into these closing minutes, because that's kind of been one of the things where games like these can be mentally draining, having to really adjust to the FBA style and how long these games usually are compared to what it was like in college. And you get a tough, long two is not going to be good, but Zervis is able to clean things up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously coming from a 40-minute game to a 48-minute game, it's only 8 extra minutes. You say that, but try doing a workout for an extra 8 minutes at 100% and see how well that goes.
Yeah. It can be very stressful for you as Cortez, able to go ahead and clean things up, cutting the deficit back down to 3. And right now we do see Sigger Hendricks with the rock. Looking to possibly get into the paint. Goes for a mid-range, and it's going to be good.
And field goal percentage has kind of evened out a little bit between the two of them. I mean, obviously the Stars still a bit ahead in that regard, but the Elites haven't slacked off either. It's the turnovers that have been the problem.
Yeah, the turnovers has really been like the big thing within this game, as Colquhoun trying to make something out of it after making that steal, but instead dishes over to Bane, going over to O. And right now we get to see a quick layup, and it's not going to be good this time as Shanahan does get the rebound.
Five-point game here with 7 minutes left to go, and these turnovers have become a problem. But good alley-oop there to Shanahan for the easy put-in. How do the Stars react?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the big thing is now the Stars only up by a possession. And of course, as I say that, we do get them once again going over for another 5-point lead. As the biggest lead so far in this game has been 9, so no one is able to hit the double digits yet. And it doesn't seem to be the case here, as the most that we've seen the lead within the fourth quarter has been 5.
Yeah, and it was the Elites with that 9-point lead too, don't forget. So it's not even like, the Stars have had a consistent lead. They were down, but they've managed to come back and be up by 5, possibly more here if they can get another basket to convert after that missed shot there from the Elites.
Yeah, this is really their chance to truly take over as Bane wide open for 3, but it's not going to go down this time. That's something you would want to make when you got a chance. You can't miss those like that. As Belladova able to cut this thing back down to 3.
That hurts. That 3 ball was more than halfway in, and it just rimmed out. That was fractions of a degree off from being a bucket.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, if you would want to have another opportunity to get that 3 ball again to show that you can still have that strut, but instead we're going to see a mid-range. It's not going to go down this time as Alvarez ends up getting the rebound. Yeah, right now, Day going for the mid-range. It's going to be in and out. And Bane ends up getting the rock one more time.
Yeah, Leon got boxed out there in the post and was unable to pull down the board. Bane to Colquhoun.
Yeah, right now, a lot of passing. We do get to see a screen. Colquhoun does go for the Euro step and is able to go ahead and get that layup as the Elites have to call timeout once again. And Colquhoun, 19 points so far in this game, already is also threatening making it into 20.
Yeah, it has been a very good game for a couple players here as Colquhoun. best player thus far on the Stars, but the Elites have had their own weapons too that you can't discount here in the final 5 minutes of this game.
Yeah, anything could really happen within 5 minutes. We've seen crazier things happen in much bigger deficits wipe away in a flash, as we see another basket there for the Elites to cut it down to 3. Running the Stars looking to extend this back to a 2-position game as Zervas hands it over to Sicker Hendricks. See a lot of movement coming around as Colquhoun gets blocked there on the way up. And now the Elites having a chance to cut this down to 1 point, but that's going to get denied, but will draw the foul against Sicker Hendricks. So the Elite will try to cut it down back to 1 possession with 2 free throws. The first one does end up being good. Beladova not going to get the second one down. It's Beladova from Fairview not able to get things going, and now the Stars going back up to 2 possessions as they're up by 4, 88-84, with less than 4 minutes left of the game.
Still way too close to call here, as both teams, I mean, we saw the Elites have a 12-4 run earlier in this game. They're completely possible. And an illegal screen there. Poppy a little too sliding her paws. Going to get called for that.
Yep. The young player from the University of Eastern Ontario getting called for that foul, Poppy Thompson. So now the Stars have a chance to try and continue to calm things down a little bit, possibly extend it up to 6, maybe even a 3-possession game to 3. But it really just depends on what they want to do with this game plan, as Colquhoun, looking for the screen, does get it. Trying to find the way into the paint and will draw the foul and 1. And now an old school 3-point play opportunity going for Colquhoun.
Yeah, and Russell up to 5 fouls, 1 away from fouling out here in the rookie combine.
Oh, goodness gracious. This is like the 2nd straight game that I'm going to have someone get fouled out. Oh, man. I don't even know how I feel.
Well, she's going to get done on offense at least.
Yeah, some great effort there from Paige Russell. As the Elites only down by 5. Still plenty of time to possibly take a lead, but they need to get a couple of stops here, and that is going to be the case this time, as Shanahan does get the missed shot. As now Day looking to go into the paint, instead go for a mid-range, and it's good. Joshua Day from Appalachian Memo College with that very important basket here. But they got to continue on the defensive front to make sure they have a chance to possibly tie this game, as Colquhoun able to shake off a defender and clean things up.
5-point game still here. Elites have to start getting some buckets and defensive stops, or else they're going to give it to Beladova down low in the post. Good dish down there. She's able to lay it up and in on the quick play.
And right now, they have been finding a lot of answers here offensively, as we do see a higher percentage there compared to the Elites, but they just need to get the stops. That's just kind of what's been plaguing them, is right now the Stars doing a really good job trying to stay ahead. Not a lot of time from the shot clock. Does get the quick screen, trying to go for a pop play, and it's going to be good. As the timer runs out on the shot clock, the Stars find themselves up by 6, and the crowd really enjoying that one.
Yeah, Seeger, great play there off the screen from Zevros. Now, what can the Elites do? They almost need to answer with a 3 of their own, and Joshua might be the one to do it. Gets a good screen. Alley-oop attempt. Oh, no! Missed time to Abigail slightly there. She wasn't able to pull it down, and it's going to be a quick play on the other end. Bain finger rolls it in for 8 now.
Yeah, and I think that could be the icing on the cake. If they're not able to make a shot here, you can probably call game 1 done here in this instance. We get a quick layup, but it's not going to be good there, as Bain gets the rebound. And I think this is probably going to be the end of this one, as there's only 1 minute left And the Stars just have to drain as much clock as possible to make it really hard for the Elites to find some kind of way to answer back.
Yeah, this
As,
one was just showboating time.
and Showboy is going to be the case as the Stars hitting the century mark with under a minute left, up by 10, the first double-digit lead, and what a perfect time to have it.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going to have one final timeout, probably sub in the other players, get the last minute shared a bit. But with that, the Stars are going to walk away here with the win. I mean, I'm going to knock on wood that somehow the Elites can't get 10 in under 50 seconds. I mean, that would be a heck of a comeback.
We've seen some crazy stuff before as we get a 3-point opportunity here. A great shot for the Elites as we get to see a possible old school 3-point play. This is a very important one here in this scenario, but I don't think it would matter much as we do see a lot of sub-ins from everyone as Cortez is going to miss that one, and that will pretty much seal the deal here. Great effort here on both sides, but the Stars rookies will end up being on top.
And last bucket there, well, actually, it won't be the last bucket. Martin's going to be the one bringing it up the court for the Elites. A chance to hit a quick three in transition. No good. And
they do get the ball back.
I mean, they're going to take another shot, and it's going to be Martin again not able to. Now the Stars should just hold on to the ball. Maybe we'll see a little cheekiness here if they decide to go for a bucket, but I think just
I don't think it's
good game until let the clock wind down.
Yep. So the Stars able to take the victory here as they win by 100-92. Some very good things going on overall as we go into the stats, and Seger Hendricks with 21 points and very efficient, 8 for 11 for that player.
Yeah, I mean, just looking through the stats, Seeger, Colquhoun both putting up 20 points here. Great showing from them.
And we do get to see some moments coming into the bench as well, because that's also something that people are going to be looking into is, as we see, good example of Turcotte, 10 points, even though 4 for 11 is not the greatest in the world, but showing a good amount of proficiency and coming off the bench, being a spark plug could be something that a lot of teams are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, making the most of every time, all your minutes on the floor, obviously. You know, you don't want to see players being, again, the ball's usually not in your paws 95% of the time. So we head on over to the Elites. Cortez absolutely lighting up 5 blocks, 22 points. Joshua, great showing too. Double-double with 10 assists. 4 turnovers, though. A little having some struggles with those passes.
Yeah,
Russell,
I would.
18 points as well.
Yeah, I would say that the one thing that we definitely have to look into, which it should be expected for a lot of younger players coming into the league, is that there's going to be a little bit of a sloppy play here and there throughout the game. We did see some pretty bad turnovers. Some of them coming from trying to do a little bit too much to get into the highlight reel of these games, but it's a learning experience. Just being able to know that, hey, just do enough to make sure that these scouts notice you, but not to the point where they may look at you as someone being a bit of a ball hog or
Don't get
not
noticed for the
really.
wrong reason.
Yeah, don't get noticed for the wrong reasons. That's certainly something that you want to look into as we do get into it. But game number 1 is now in the books. We're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break here before we go ahead and get things started for game number 2.
Yeah, any final thoughts, Marcus, before we dive on over to game number 2, or you want to go get a drink before we're back at it again?
Yeah, let me go ahead and just get a couple of ice waters here, make sure that I get to cool down a little bit. But I'm just excited to see all of these young players continuing to show what they can, as we do get to see a little bit of jersey swaps here and there before we get into the next exhibition game for the top 24. And I'm just excited to see what happens next.
Yep. Stay tuned in. Go get your pizza. Get ready for game number 2. We'll be back shortly, everyone.